Hello and welcome back to ManVFilm. I have finally finished going through the extras disc on the Dawn of the Dead release, and it was a gargantuan effort because there is hours of extra material in here. So much so that I've got my notes in front of me here. I'm going to talk through some or most of the extras. I'll just give you the run time of them, a brief overlook of what they are. The release is round the corner now, it's almost here. Everybody's going to be getting their final copies. I can't wait to get mine's, and I'm sure you're going to delve into them, so I'll make it as brief as I can, just talking about some of these extras. So first of all, we've got Zombies and Bikers, which is a 58-minute newly produced extra for this release. It's talking heads along with interspersed footage and archival footage, production, making of through the eyes of the extras, most notably the zombies and the bikers, and it's really kind of fun. And these are the kind of extras that I like, because you hear a lot from the main filmmakers and you're going to in a lot of the other extras, so it's nice to get a different kind of viewpoint. Someone that was maybe only there for a day or two, someone that was just a little part of the production, but I found it to be extremely polished. It had right amount of behind the scenes footage, of film footage, and at almost an hour was a great new addition. Next up we have Memories of Monroeville, which is 34 minutes, and it's a tour round the mall reminiscing about the film. It's got Tom Savini, Tom Dubinsky, Michael Gonich and Tas Starakis, and these four guys are obviously very friendly. And at first, when this one started, I was a little bit unsure about how it was going to go, because they're walking around the mall. It's these four older guys, but the way the memories kind of kick in as they're walking about, the fact they've got the four of them and they start to bounce off each other and they're like, oh, do you remember this and do you remember that? And it brings out some really nice anecdotal stories that I found really fascinating. Next up, we've got Raising the Dead, at 25 minutes, all about the production, getting them all, basically not getting any sleep when they're doing it, working around the shops, getting permission to shoot, and getting a lot of freebies about it. What I liked about this one is it focuses on basically getting the production up and running, from getting the script, getting the involvement of Argento, getting the mall, and starting to get things from the community as they kind of wrapped around this movie and really pushed forward with it. And it's such a nice condensed little extra that offers a lot of information and was really quite invaluable, and one that I really did enjoy. Next up, we've got The FX of Dawn, 13-minute interview with Tom Savini. You're getting a lot of information here that you've heard before, but because of the way Savini delivers it, because of the background that he has here with all these creature effects behind him, it's a nice addition. It may not be the most informative because we've seen information before, but it's really good to hear him talk and to see all those wonderful creature masks. Next up we have Dummies, which is 12 minutes, which is an interview with Richard, who he was in There's Always Vanilla. He was in The Crazies, and he plays the eye patch wearing scientist on the TV screen in this one. And it's one of those little fun ones where it's an actor that you didn't even realise you were going to hear from. He just pops up. Took me a second to realise who he was, because he's talking about his initial career and how he met George and how he worked with him into this role. And it's really interesting, and he's quite good. He's eloquent talking about his role, talking about George, talking about some of the things he loved and his little part of this movie. We've got the Lost Romero interview, which is 20 minutes, kind of retrospective interview. George seems really engaged in this one. He is talking about things that he liked about making it, things he's still unhappy with. A certain shot he gets into, he talks about why he feels it never quite worked. People seem to love it. Other effect shots that he loved, how he had such fun on the production, and it's just a kind of breezy, energetic George that we get here talking about this production. And for 20 minutes it really did just zip by, and you realise what a kind of captivating influence Romero was. Next up, we've got Super 8 footage, which is 13 minutes behind the scene. It comes with two commentaries from Robert Langer and Ralph Langer. I haven't listened to the commentaries. The footage itself is just one of those nice oddities. It's not the best footage, it's Super 8 footage after all, but got lots of nice little shots and tidbits. It's just an interesting little factoid. Not the kind of thing you're going to go back to much, but it's interesting enough. Next up, we've got Document of the Dead. Now, this comes in the original and extended cut. The original is 91 minutes, the extended is 102 minutes. I think I prefer the extended cut, just primarily for the open. They've got like a little stop motion plasticine type scene, which is just really fun. Document of the Dead is a documentary that I'm not really sold on. I like about 2/3 of it. I feel it gives you lots of information on George Martin, the movie, which I'm really excited about seeing, the history of the production of this. The last half hour feels really tacked on, and ultimately it feels a little bit scattershot, a little bit unfocused. It doesn't have a solid narrative through it, where it has some information. It has lots of stuff that seems superfluous and tacked on, and you get a kind of less engaged George, in my opinion, later on in the movie, as he's getting kind of similar questions just years apart. It's a real shame because I wanted to love this. I started off really liking it, but as the more I went on, the more I became disjointed with the actual movie, as it became disjointed, as the editing became odd and the inclusion of certain scenes seemed unnecessary. But of course, it's part of the definitive edition. It's something that any fan probably wants to check out at some point. And then we have The Dead Will Walk, which is the 2004 retrospective making of. It's on 1:15. This is much more condensed. It's much more controlled. There is a simple direction to the storytelling here. I know it's a documentary, but they have direction behind the way they want to talk about things. It's got plenty of behind the scenes shots included with certain footage as people are talking about scenes. It kind of talks to everybody that's important, as well as some minor actors as well. Everybody seems full of passion and excitement, and although you get some information you've seen before, it's delivered in such a bright and breezy way that it makes this one of the better docs on the disc, and I had a lot of fun watching this one as well. Finally, you get the trailers, the TV spots, the radio spots. It's condensed into one segment of its own. It's 18 minutes in length. I really like to see how these movies were advertised, so I go in and check the trailers out because I think it's fun. But it's a product of its time, and it's really interesting. And that is the final extra on this disc. The disc is rammed. It takes hours to get through it all, and that's just the extras disc, not taking into account the plethora of commentaries that's on the other discs as well. We're almost there, people. The release is almost at our door. I can't wait to get my hands on the final copy. Just now, I think it is one of the most well-produced, well-executed, definitive editions of a movie that's been released on any physical media form so far. It's just wonderful. Second Sight have done an amazing job, and I can't wait to add this to my collection. It's going to take pride of place. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on ManVFilm.